Alrighty, welcome everybody. Let's start going through some of these questions that I have. Okay, so here are some of the topics that I'm going to be covering over the next, I don't know how long. Goal setting, scheduling and motivation, leadership tips, recipe videos, self-love, personal development, your story, day in the life vlogs, maybe. I also think people would like, what do I do in a day? Overcoming negativity and self-talk, skincare, your story, tips, mindset, starting your own business, faith over fears, healthy gut info, acne help, beauty and fitness, social media, general topics, podcast, business training, sharing your knowledge, YouTube, daily or weekly vlogs or day in the life videos. So everyone wants to know what I do every day. Well, your strengths, ethics and integrity, especially in 2020. More day in the life vlogs, morning and night routine, what you eat in a day, coffee and wine. Monthly faves, products, books, etc. Daily routines around online business, how to be disciplined and consistent, how to build a personal brand. Okay, this goes on and on. Should I finish them? No. So I think what I'm going to do is just like pick one, maybe every little episode series, and then we'll see how we go. I'm kind of new at this YouTube thing. I've been doing social media for a while, and I used to put out videos on YouTube with one of my other businesses, actually two of my other businesses, but they were never like, I never tried that hard. So I just kind of put stuff up and let it go. So this is the first time that I'm actually going to try and be a little bit more structured around what I do on YouTube. Wish me luck. Let's talk about, which topic do I want to talk about out of all of these? I don't really know where to start, hey? Let's talk about daily routines. I feel like for daily routines, I would need to like take you with me all day. Business training, sharing your knowledge. Maybe let's talk about how to be disciplined and consistent, because that seems to be one that comes up a lot. Like, how do I stay motivated? How do I get stuff done? Obviously, I have a wine company, Wine Not the Brand, and I have another business, and I used to have another consulting online business as well. So I've been in the online business world for 2012 to so February 2012 is when I first started. So like 8 years, like almost 9 years kind of, I've been doing stuff online and I've been running my own business. So I guess when it comes to discipline and consistency, I actually get this question. I'm not allowed to say I get this question a lot. Nick, my partner, told me that I was not allowed to say that in YouTube world because apparently it sounds really dumb. Like, people always ask me, and when people don't ask you, but people legit always ask me to tell them about my schedule. Discipline and consistency, something that people don't like to hear, but I find people ask the question about like motivation a lot. Like, how do I stay motivated? Not just me, but like them in general. Like, how do I stay motivated? How do I get it done? Like, how do you stay motivated? How do you keep getting back up? And really, I think it actually is not about motivation. I actually think it's more about consistency and scheduling and discipline, which are three words that people don't really like to hear because it implies work. But what I have found is that when you actually set up good routines and you have a good schedule and you know what you're doing and you know where everything fits in your life, which is what scheduling is, it actually makes it so much easier to get shit done. It takes so much less effort. You don't have to think about what you're doing. I know even this morning I woke up and I was a bit like, ugh, I just didn't feel quite right. And I do a lot of journaling. So when I don't feel right, I will write things down. So I have two books. I have one that's like positive, it's my affirmations, it's my dreams and goals, it's got like financial goals and all sorts of like positive, happy, airy fairy stuff in it. And then I have another book which is basically a book of anxiety, I guess. So whenever I'm feeling a little bit shit or down or unmotivated or anxious or any of those, I guess, like negative sort of feelings, I write in that book. And what I tend to find is that there's a couple of different categories of why I feel unmotivated or not in a good place. And one of them, and this morning, the one that it was actually to do with scheduling. I just had so much on my plate. I had so much on my mind. I had so many to-do lists. I had so many things that I wanted to accomplish, achieve, do, things that I was thinking about, emails that I had to send, texts that I had to send, tasks that I wanted to complete. And they were all rolling around in my head, but nothing was actually getting done, including filming this. So I thrive, like I feel most people do, if I'm honest, I thrive on accomplishment. I thrive on getting things done. I thrive on seeing those little wins come through. I thrive on success. I thrive on achievement. I thrive on accomplishment. And when I spend more time thinking about what I'm doing than actually taking action, that puts me, and I think a lot of people, in a really negative headspace. So one of my tips when people ask me, well, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay disciplined? It is actually to write things down. Like, the more aware you are, I find the better it is. It's when you don't know what's wrong that you eat yourself up inside. Whereas when you can see it on a piece of paper and you're like, oh shit, like I'm actually just really busy. I need to schedule better. I need to outsource that. I need to ask for help with that. And you put everything on a list, then you put everything in your diary. You know what day you're doing every single thing. So your to-do list becomes a schedule. It relieves the anxiety immediately, because you know, like, subconsciously you've taken back control of every part of your life. And that's what I did this morning, and it works really, really well. So when it comes to motivation and discipline and consistency, that's one of my top tips, is to actually write stuff down. Honestly, it's scheduling. Like, I kind of could go on about this forever, and I used to have a whole, I think it was like an hour and a half training on scheduling and time management, but in the short nutshell version, it's just write shit down, put it in your diary, and actually do it. And if you don't do it, move it to the next day. It doesn't get deleted. Like, just because you've had call your clients on there for 3 months, it doesn't get deleted. It truly, you cannot delete those things. I had a business coach at one stage, and she said to me, if you have been avoiding something for more than 2 weeks, you suck at it. You need to ask for help or outsource. And I really believe in that. So something that I do in one of my businesses is, when my team is struggling to get something done, I bring them together and we actually do it together. Even when I'm struggling to get things done, like if I'm procrastinating on something, I will put a deadline in place. Like, I will have a meeting about that thing, so I need to have done it before I need to present on it, or I will have a team call with everybody, so I need to make sure I've actually done it before I ask them to do it. Like, I will give myself deadlines to meet, or I will basically bribe myself. I call it the carrot and the stick, which I don't know where I got it from, somewhere. But basically, carrot and stick is that if there's something that you are wanting to do, or you need to do, and you don't want to do it, don't want to do it, you give yourself a carrot or a stick. So a carrot is something like, I can have a glass of wine once I have made those phone calls. A stick is something like, I cannot call my dad until I have done that thing. So pulling and pushing yourself, working with how you work, has been really, really effective for me. So giving myself a goal to, for example, when I hit a promotion in my business, there was this expensive designer belt that I wanted. I didn't need it. You can use a less expensive belt, but it's something that I wanted. Most people just go and buy it for themselves just because they can. But I make myself earn everything, like everything. Holidays, anything that's beautiful and expensive, even sometimes dinners, even, you know, sometimes phone calls to my family. I make myself earn things because I know that drives me to achieve more, to create more, to succeed more, which in turn means I can actually give back more. So I use that carrot and stick all the time to stay consistent and disciplined. So that's that one. What else can we talk about? I think the other thing that I find myself saying a lot to people is, be realistic. And I don't mean like negative realism where people go, oh, that's unachievable. I don't believe in that. I think everything is achievable in good timing. I mean, you cannot expect a human body to do what a computer or a movie or a very short clip of somebody does. So I think a lot of us have unrealistic expectations on how quickly things happen and how little effort you think you have to put into something to achieve a big result. And I think that has a lot to do with social media. It has a lot to do with the way footage is edited, the way things are presented. Even people don't read books as much anymore because it's much quicker to watch a video or whatever it is. But I think with that, we lose perspective of how long things actually take when you are doing them in a legitimate, sustainable, and ethical way. There is a lot of, I won't even say perceived success, because I guess it is black and white success, like financial success, for example, fame, for example, clout, even on social media. But those things and those sorts of people, what I have found from observation is they generally don't last, or the image is not real. So there's a lot of people that I know who I love, as humans, a lot of them who I love as humans, a lot of them that I don't know personally, but I make assumptions based on this principle, is that they look like they have a life that they don't actually have. So a good example of this is social media influencers that have hundreds of thousands of followers, yet they're broke. They don't actually have money in the bank because their trading currency it's not real. Like, it's not actual money. It's like if you think of that movie Wolf of Wall Street, I think it was Wolf of Wall Street, was it? When he was talking about the stocks and the trades, and he says, you know, we trade and we actually take the money, but the people who are trading those stocks, it's fugazi, it's nothing. They actually don't own anything. A lot of social medias, I'm not saying everybody, this is just to give you some sort of perspective, and this is the way that I think. There's a lot on social media which is not helpful and it's not real. Like, I would rather have $300,000 in my bank account than have 300,000 followers. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I remember when I was building my second business, and I actually didn't even have an Instagram profile for that for the longest time, and yet I was making profit. I could send out an email and convert and make immediate sales. And I remember thinking, God, isn't it weird that all I ever wanted was a big social media following, but now that I'm running an actual business, it really doesn't mean anything to me. Unless that social media platform is converting into sales, which converts into dollars in my bank account, which converts into a life that I want to live, I actually kind of don't care. So at the moment, I've actually detached completely from social media. For a month, we're doing Old School October in my business, and I'm trying to teach my team how to reconnect with people, how to look at product sales over likes, how to care more about booking an actual appointment than they care about posting on social media, which doesn't convert. And I'm finding a lot of them are finding it really challenging, actually, because they don't know what that sales environment is like. They're only used to seeking validation through likes, comments, and followers, which does not convert into product sales. So bringing it all back to scheduling and discipline and consistency, I think you have to have the right mindset of what you're trying to achieve and how long it takes and to where to put your attention. I see a lot of people burn themselves out through doing activities that are not, you know, what we call income producing. They're things like posting on social media at a time where the world is disconnected from social media. No one's trusting what they see on social media. I know for sure I've been hammered with ads for products that I bought, and every single product bar one has been absolute rubbish. Like, I cannot even use it. I can't wear it. I can't even return it because it's done through drop shipping. So there's no company to return to. There's no returns policy. One of the companies I actually managed to contact, and the products were just not what they were meant to be. And so I wanted to return them. And they actually said to me, they'll credit me back the money, but there's nowhere to return them to. So I should give it to charity. Like, that's the kind of environment that we're working in right now, where it's not this real person face-to-face interaction. And people, I think, are just starting to lose faith and trust in what they see in the online world. It's been around for that long now, where people have taken advantage of it in such a way where I think we're all just a little bit blindsided. And I think we don't know it, but we're craving that human connection. And I also think we don't know how to do that anymore. So those real in-person conversations that come with trust and they come with relationship building and time it takes, those are the conversations that you have where you get more of a perspective on that girl on social media who looks like she's absolutely killing it, is exhausted. She has no purpose anymore. She doesn't know where she fits. She's not making money anymore. Like, there's so much behind the curtain that people don't put out onto social media for a variety of reasons, whether it's their own personal brand, whether it's company restrictions, they're not allowed to talk about things, whether it's a culture of only putting out positive information and not putting out negative, which could be real. Like, there's so many reasons that I feel we're not getting the realistic version of business. And I think it impacts people's expectations on the time it takes, how consistent they have to be, how hard they have to work, and what that work looks like. So when people talk to me about consistency and discipline, the conversation I generally have, apart from that scheduling, is usually perspective. Like, it really is perspective. Tell me how long you think it's going to take. Tell me how much work you need to put in. What kind of work does that look like? And for the most part, people actually don't know. They don't know what to do, and they don't know what not to do. And because of that, they're running around and around, usually in their heads, which is why I get them to write everything down. And they're exhausted from doing absolutely nothing. So I think a large part of building a long-term, sustainable, well-rounded, healthy, happy business and person running that business is really to try and disconnect from that hype and focus on principles instead of tactics, and principles instead of strategies. I put out a post, my last post before I took myself off social media, about reading the room. You as a business person, you must adapt. You must adapt to what's happening outside. You can't ignore the fact that people are feeling some kind of way, or that something happened in the world. And although I actually don't follow the news at all, I don't watch TV ever, I don't read news articles, just being out in the world, you know what's going on, you know plenty. So protecting your mindset and staying focused on what you want to achieve, but pivoting and going with the flow, I think is really helpful. Knowing when to step forward, knowing when to step back, knowing when to just stand still and wait for things to happen. It's like business intuition, which you can't do if you're constantly being bombarded with other people's ideas and opinions. And something that I'm personally working on is, instead of following people in business, is finding my own voice. So I'm reading at the moment Richard Branson's Finding My Virginity, Losing My Virginity, the second one. And I have been reading a lot of these different books from different successful people lately, because I want to find patterns in their behavior. But the pattern that I'm noticing is that they're all so unique. There's not one way of thinking, there's not one way of doing things. And it's kind of liberating, but it's also kind of scary, because it means to be a successful business owner. Like, I'm trying to make Why Not the Brand a global voice, a global brand. I have so much that I want to achieve with this label, and it's up to me. It's up to me. There's no one to follow. There's no one to ask, how do I do it? Because every single person will have a different vision and a different experience. And that's what I'm learning at the moment. So I think that's all I want to say about consistency, discipline. Yeah, if you have any questions, I guess. I'm not sure if I'm going to turn comments on or not. I have had some negative experiences on social media being attacked, and I'm just not like mentally or emotionally prepared to go through that again. So if the comments are off, soz about it. If the comments are on, please be kind. Anything negative or mean is going to be blocked and deleted straight away. I do not tolerate nastiness, drama, bitchiness. It's just not a part of my value system. It's not a part of my life, and it's not a part of who I am. So coming onto YouTube, I'm going to set that pretense right away that I'm not going to tolerate any sort of negative behavior. Questions, absolutely. Conversation topics, fantastic. If you're here, this is simply a giving channel. Whether I open it up for conversation later or not, we'll see. But what I'm going to do is just continue to work through these questions. So hopefully this has been helpful and you've picked up, anything, hopefully something from my stories. But make sure you subscribe and stay tuned and follow along for the journey of Why Not the Brand, and follow along for my little ass random ramblings about different topics. And if you have any ideas for what I should actually call this, I am all ears, so let me know. And thanks for tuning in.